This video is speeded up and I've edited out the parts where I'm just observing and nothing is happening. When I paint a horse in Pan Pastels, I draw the outline of my horse first. I crop my photo to a composition that I like, then print my photo. Then I can use the measurements of that photo to get my initial main points of proportions. If I was drawing from life, I would use the circles and lines method, or if the horse is still, then the holding up of the pencil method. But working from photos, I use this method, which is something I fell into doing quite naturally when I first started working from photos. I've never traced. I did try it and found it awkward, and obviously restricted the painting to the size of the photo. So I prefer to use observation along with the help of a ruler. So I decide what size I want my painting, then I multiply up to that size and I put in marks for the outside edge of my painting area and marks for the top of the ear, top of the head, bottom of the lip, front of the nose, the jaw, the eye, and then eventually a bit further down the line the head collar. You can't really see my marks here as they're quite faint. From those marks I can go ahead and draw the horse freehand. If something doesn't look quite right, I can check the measurement, and you'll see me do that occasionally in this video. Horses aren't easy, so it's best to study the anatomy from life and from diagrams of the musculature and skeleton. You can see when I draw the mane, I'm purely putting in the outline shape. Bear in mind this is just a guide for my Pan Pastels. I can refine and add details with them. Bear in mind I'm not creating a drawing here, purely markings for my painting. That's why it's a bit rough around the edges, so please watch out for the actual painting in a further video that I'll be posting sometime in the very near future. I'm using a light colour pastel pencil to draw this horse so I can see it against the background, and it will disappear when the Pan Pastel goes on. If I'm not happy with a mark or a line, this surface is very robust and I can rub out with a pencil eraser without any damage. I've used mount board primed with Art Spectrum Colour Fix primer in burgundy with a touch of white to lighten it a little. I took the inspiration for this colour from the roof tiles in the photo. You can buy ready prepared sheets of Art Spectrum Colour Fix, but I like using mount board and I like to mix my own colours and apply with a paintbrush. I love the effect of the brush marks that show through the final painting. Once I've created the outline of the horse and I'm happy that the proportions are reasonably correct, I can easily add detail by observing where details are in relation to each other. Horses' eyes are worth studying on their own and notoriously difficult to get right, so lots of observation and practice needed there for correct positioning and proportion. They're a lot smaller than you'd think. I continue to develop the head collar from my initial marks, and it's useful if you know how they work with the various straps, buckles and clips. Perspective knowledge is useful here, as the squares and circles will be distorted. Once I've got my head collar in the correct position, I can continue to use that as a way of lining up other details. All the time during the drawing I'm stepping back to observe and compare it with the photo, although I've edited those bits out because there's a lot of waiting about. Also, you need to be very aware that you can misinterpret a photo. You may need to draw what you should see rather than what you see. For instance, a camera may distort due to the lens being zoomed out, or flattened due to the lens being zoomed in. You you may not be able to see clearly what's in the shadows, so knowledge of anatomy and how it should look is essential to learn so that you can correctly interpret what you see. I freely and loosely put in the outline of the shadow cast by the head and the mane, and then the shape of his tummy, chest muscles and the V shape created by the muscles at the top of the front leg. I've zoomed out here so that you can see the bottom of the painting a bit more. It's much clearer in the still photo at the end of the video of the completed drawing, so stick with it to see that. I use a tape measure to draw in the border lines of the painting, but you can use any straight edge. I use the tape measure because it has a little hook that just holds it in place while I line it up with my markings, and then I make a very faint line to indicate the border. The last still picture on the video is the final drawing ready for painting with Pan Pastels, so please do look out for that video coming soon. If you find you struggle with getting horses right, I recommend this measuring technique. You can multiply up to the size you want and measure as many details as you want. Then in time, you need less and less measuring as your observation skills improve. I hope this video has been useful. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments, and please like, share and subscribe to my channel.